Hello everyone, Alex here. I am so glad to finally be back. So as you can see, I am in a new location. We have finally moved into our new place. The studio is not yet set up, but that's okay. That is coming soon. But today we're coming live from the new office area to review new fragrances from our friends at CandleScience. So, CandleScience sent me some of these goodies. They came while I was mid-move. I had every intention of recording these earlier. That didn't happen. Whatever. We're here now. So, I have their new year-round fragrances. They sent me all 6 of the 7? Yeah, all 7 of the new fragrances. And then we're having a sale, so I ended up ordering more. You know, what can I say? So today we're going to be reviewing all of these new fragrances. I'm going to give you my first impressions straight out of the bottle. And then with the new year-round fragrances that they just released, I will be making some products with them. They'll be for my new home. Currently, I am on the last few bars of soap that I had prior to the move. So I need to be restocking my shower soon. So I'm going to be selfish. We're going to do a little bit of self-care in this. What's the worst that can happen? So if you're ready for us to dive on in, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a like, hit that notification bell so you know when we post our next video. And let's get into it. Okay, so I am back. Maybe a couple weeks after that the intro was filmed. Burnout's a real thing. Mental health is a real thing. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. But yeah, so we're back closer to Halloween. I have my Goosebumps t-shirt on. It's gonna be a good day. So we're gonna be reviewing these fragrances from CandleScience. I want to start out this by saying that this is not sponsored. CandleScience did send me a portion of these for me to try out and test and review. And then I did purchase some with my own money. So I'll make sure to note which ones were sent by CandleScience and which ones I purchased on my own. So the first one that we're going to review is Velvet Vanilla. So Velvet Vanilla has top notes of linen with a mid of amaretto, jasmine, and smoke, and then base notes of musk, praline, vanilla, and amber. Wow. So that is really good. So for me, this is one of those, I'm gonna call it a transitionary fragrance. These are fragrances that I would say you can use kind of in that like fall to winter category. There's a little bit of that like gourmand fragrance to it, so it's a little bit sweeter without being anything too wild. It does have essential oils in it. Because of that, it is not rated for soap use, just because of some of those some of the essential oils can be really, really harsh on the skin. And I'm thinking that's what the deal behind these ones are. I'm gonna say my personal notes, it's a little bit breathy, it's a little bit sweet, there's a little bit of a smoke to it. I like it. I can't wait to use these in wax melts and candles and kind of see how this plays. I'm gonna give this one probably about an 8 out of 10. I'm not a huge fan of the gourmand kind of category. It's not bad, but I think, you know, just knowing what I know, doing my research about this new collection, there's better ones yet to come. So next up we have Palo Santo and Sandalwood. And anybody knows that I am a big fan of sandalwood. So anything kind of in that sandalwood, that santal, anything kind of like woody and smoky, I am a absolute simp for those fragrances. My notes here, I have top notes of moss, bergamot, and violet. You have those middle notes of incense and saffron. And then you have base notes of Palo Santo, patchouli, and sandalwood. This also contains essential oils. You can use it in candles 3 to 10% or soaps 2 to 5%. Wow. I'm a big fan of this one. You definitely get kind of like those essential oil notes in there. You definitely get kind of like that incense note in there as well. It's really fresh, but it has like these deeper woody notes to them, which I really appreciate. It kind of has some range and some variance to it. I'm definitely going to give this one a 9 out of 10, just for my own personal liking. I can't wait to test this out in soap. I definitely can't wait to see how this behaves in a blend, because I have some ideas on how I could use a fragrance like this and kind of building upon it. All right, so then the next one we have from their new permanent collection is Wild Honeysuckle. So Wild Honeysuckle has top notes of green leaves and bergamot, middle notes of honeysuckle, jasmine, and amorous, and then we have a base of powder and sandalwood. So we'll give this a little smell. This one is also rated in candles 3 to 10%, and then soaps 2 to 5%. Yeah, I mean, I can take this one. It doesn't necessarily smell like your traditional honeysuckle smells. For me, some of your like Bath and Body Works type of honeysuckle, or even some other fragrances that you can find in other brands, honeysuckle is not my favorite. It's very, very harsh and abrasive. You have a lot of like jasmine-y notes to it, which we have that in here, but you kind of have like a base of that, and then you have all this other like variation to it. It's powdery. You know, most honeysuckles are kind of like a powdery, florally blend of fragrance. This is definitely that. However, this also does have some like depth and range to it, and it has come kind of like woodier notes. So I wouldn't say that this is necessarily a fall fragrance, but I could definitely see using something like this in lotions and body butters coming into like early springtime and that transition from winter to spring. I'm gonna give that one a 7 out of 10. I think there's a lot that you're gonna be able to do with it when it comes to mixing, and I can't wait to give it a shot. Next up we have Midnight Blackberry. So Midnight Blackberry is rated 3 to 10% usage in candles, 2 to 5% in soap. You know the deal with that. It has notes on the top of lime and orange, and in the middle you have blackberry, raspberry, and champagne. And then on the bottom you have a base of sugar, pine, and praline. So we're gonna give this a smell. Yeah. So you can definitely get those fresh notes from this. I really, really love that. In my notes here, it's definitely uplifting. It's definitely fruity. So because you have those citrus notes at the top, you get this like pleasantly like elevated sweetness. And then everything else is like very dimensional. I would say almost this is kind of I would say this is like more of a mature version of Black Raspberry Vanilla. So Black Raspberry Vanilla to me is like very rich, very sweet. You have this kind of like creamy, like delicate berry fragrance to it. With this one, with Midnight Blackberry by CandleScience, you have that, but you also have this range of like the citrus and the other notes of like the pine and the praline. So you're getting some like more depth and dimension than you would a standard black raspberry and vanilla. And I really, really like this. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. You all know that 9 out of 10 is a big deal. Here, we don't just hand like 9.5, 10 out of 10s unless we mean it. I can't wait to get this into some soap. All right. So the next one we have up is Sugar Pine and Patchouli. So Sugar Pine and Patchouli, you can use 3 to 10% in candles, 2 to 5% in soap. That's pretty standard. It's got a top notes of lime and pear. You have a middle notes of patchouli and sage, and then bottom notes of balsam, pine, and cedar. The moment that I smelled this the first time, I knew this was going to be one that I loved and that I would be reaching for and probably ordering in another bottle, or a larger bottle rather. It's really clean, but you have like sweet notes in there. You have sweet notes from the citrus and the pear, of course, but then you also have like those woodier notes from the balsam and the pine and the cedar, and you kind of meet in the middle with that patchouli note. So it's like a really nice bridge, and this is one that I'm definitely going to be using for holiday collection. We have some products with archer+alex skin that we're ready to like start ramping up and getting put together in production on. So Sugar Pine and Patchouli is definitely one that we may make a limited edition product for our holiday collection in some sort of like body balm or whatever we come out with. So I can't wait to test this out further. I'm definitely going to try it in some soap. So, I mean, this gets an 8.5 out of 10 for me. All right, next up we have Redwoods and Moss. This is a 3 to 10% usage in candles. However, you cannot use it in soap. It does have essential oils in it, and I think that's probably part of the reason. At the top you have clove and earth notes, your middle notes are pine and ember, and then your base notes are cedar and moss. That clove note tells me right there that there is some clove essential oils in there, which can be a little hot feeling on the skin, so I definitely understand that. Yeah, this is just like good, clean, wholesome, like woody fragrance. So some of you out there that really like the very sandalwood or the very musky, is it the deep sandalwood or like the deep musk candles that you can maybe find at like your big box stores? If you're a fan of that, you're gonna love this. This is just like quintessential, like clean holiday fragrance to me. If you're a candle maker, I highly recommend this one. It's just like deep and rich and earthy and spicy, and like the woodiness is just like so really well balanced. I could even see people mixing Blood Orange by CandleScience with this dude, and give it kind of like a little bit more range and a little bit more breadth, some more dimension to your fragrance profile of your candles. I might actually try that with a candle just to kind of like play with those notes, but this is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Like, no kidding, no lying. I'm going to be ordering a much larger bottle of this. We have some cool new products coming out for our home line as well, so I definitely see this having a spot in there. I love it. I'm going to rant and rave about it. And then last up for the new fragrances that have hit CandleScience line is Sweet Vanilla Caramel. So you can use this one 3 to 10% in candles, and you can't use it in soap, unfortunately. The top note is cinnamon. There is essential oils in here. That cinnamon's going to be a little hot on the skin. You have middle notes of coffee, brown sugar, caramel, and butterscotch, and then base notes of chocolate and vanilla. Give this a smell. The more that I smell this one, the more it grows on me. It's definitely in that like gourmand part of the fragrance wheel. You definitely get those chocolatey notes. You definitely get like the brown sugar and the coffee, and then like that very top note of cinnamon. It's one that I appreciate, but I'm gonna be honest, it's not one that I would really go out and buy myself. I'm definitely gonna try this in a wax melt. I think it smells really, really good for what it is. For me personally, I think this would be very well benefited by a citrus note to kind of take that gourmand type smell, kind of give it some body and some roundness to it. I'm gonna give this, just first impressions, 8 out of 10. It's not bad. And I think that this is a great fragrance if you want to build up onto it. So those are all the fragrances that I have ordered, or that were sent to me by CandleScience. Now we're going to move on to the ones that I ordered. I'm super excited about these ones. CandleScience was running a sale when I got these. You know how it is. When fragrances are on sale, you buy samples just so you can, you know, stack up your deck. The first one that we have here is Cashmere Plum. So Cashmere Plum just sounds really, really beautiful to me. It has a citrus top note, and then it has plum and black cherry for the middle, and then our base is sugar, light musk, amber, freesia, and vanilla. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really, really fresh. I would say that this is a very, very versatile for the seasons. You could use this. You could use this easily spring and summer. For fall, I would maybe add like a little bit of a wood fragrance to it. Maybe even pairing it with like the Palo Santo and Sandalwood. Get a little bit of spice and grit there. For winter, I would maybe even consider mixing it with like the patchouli and pine. Once again, get a little bit of that like pine and that grit. It's very versatile. I really like it. I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. You can use it 3 to 10% in candles and 3 to 6% in soaps. So it's definitely a versatile key player. The next one we have that I ordered is Black Coral and Moss. So Black Coral Moss has top notes of marine, camphor, and pineapple. You have a middle notes of lavender and bamboo, and then base notes of dark musk, vetiver, amber, and cedar. Yeah, that is absolutely beautiful. So one of my favorite fragrances by CandleScience is Lavender Driftwood. It is like in that same family of that spa-like fragrance type. So it's very fresh, but it also has like a little bit of spice and a little bit of edge to it. I definitely get that from this. This is one that I'm definitely going to use on its own. I'm going to play with it in blends with, say, like a Lavender Driftwood, just because there's some overlaps of fragrance notes there. I think that there might be a lot of versatility when you're trying to like pitch this using this as a base fragrance. You're gonna get very beautiful results. 3 to 10% in candles, 2 to 5% in soaps. It's gorgeous. I love this one so much. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. Lavender Driftwood is a 9.5, 10 out of 10 for me. It's very, very high ranking. When I was doing the first review in CandleScience a couple months ago, it scored really, really high for me. It behaved so beautifully in soap. So I'm hoping this one, like its cousin, it's going to be really well behaved for us. Anybody else that's been here for a while? Santal 33 by Le Labo is one of my favorite fragrances. Anytime I can get my hands on that, you know, it's a very, very special fragrance. It's expensive. So we have Golden Santal, which is CandleScience's version of that. 3 to 10% in candles, 2 to 5% in soaps. with top notes of fennel, cardamom, and ginger. Then you have your middle notes of amber, cedar, clover, and lavender, and then base notes of sandalwood and musk. Yeah, this is like exactly what I would kind of pit a Santal fragrance to. It's peppery, it's woody, there's a touch of sweetness to it. You have this like full body amber kind of like vibe to it. But then like on the back of your like olfactory palette, you get these like deep sandalwoody musky notes that kind of just carry the fragrance, and it's gorgeous. Like, this is a 9 out of 10 for me. I'm really excited to play with this. I've been kind of wanting to do a kind of like a Santal bundle with Nomad and kind of playing with bundled products, and I think that's going to be a contender of something that I can kind of pair with that custom fragrance. Next up, we have Library. Library has top notes of teakwood, middle notes of leather and cedar, and then base notes of amorous, jardama, sandalwood, and patchouli. Give this a sniff. I don't remember smelling this one. I really like that. So it's like fresh and woody, but there's like the floral notes to it as well. Like, I would say it's almost kind of like a shaving cream type smell, but like a very elevated shaving cream, if that makes sense. 3 to 10% in candles, 3 to 6 in soap. It's really fresh. Like, I could see this maybe being like a linen spray, or definitely some wax melts and candles. Yeah, that's gonna be an 8 out of 10 for me. Like, I think that this has enough versatility for which you could use product line wise. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Kind of a sleeper hit of this one. And then last up, we have Lavender Embers. I have high hopes for this. I've not smelled this one yet. I'm a big fan of lavender. I'm a big fan of anything kind of in that like campfire, kind of like woody fragrance. So let's go ahead and give this a smell. 3 to 10% in candles, 1 to 3% in soap. Oh wow. Wow, okay. It has top notes of eucalyptus and peppermint, middle notes of lavender and sage, base notes of smoke, patchouli, and cedar. I definitely get those smoky notes. It's very prevalent right off the bat. But I'm also, okay, so now that that's set a little bit, I'm also starting to get those lavender and sage notes. So you kind of get, it kind of, once you sit with it and like, once you let it breathe a little bit, yeah, I'm not so much getting the eucalyptus and peppermint at the top. It's mainly that lavender and sage. I mean, my first instinct, just because I got nose full of smoke, was like 7 out of 10. I mean, I could see this being an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, I really appreciate this. Those other notes are kind of secondary if you're smelling it right from the bottle. So this may be one of those fragrances that you really have to put into a product to get the full range of notes, which I appreciate. I think that this also has some versatility to it. So we're looking at, if this isn't a primary fragrance, how could you use this with a backing fragrance? Once again, I'm going to call it out. Blood Orange by CandleScience would be a great pairing for this. If you wanted to support another small business and another small vendor, I would say Leather by Midwest Fragrance Company. You would get that kind of like leathery, kind of like beautiful, yeah, old-time leathery note to pair with this and with the smoke, and then you have the sage and the lavender. I think that'd be a really beautiful pairing. Yeah, I'm a fan of this. I can't wait to play with this one as well. Okay, so that ramped up and closed out our like smell review of all of these. So in this next part, we're going to put these to the test. We won't be using all of them just because the studio is still kind of packed away and we're still trying to get all of that done. So I will be taking the fragrances from Midwest Fragrance Company. I will be taking the fragrances from CandleScience's new permanent items collection that they just added within the last month or so. And we'll be making some soaps, and then we'll be making some wax melts and candles. So we'll see you here and probably with the power of editing in a few seconds. Okay, we're back making soap, and I am unbelievably excited. I've not made soap in like close to a month or more, so I'm so glad to be here, be back, and yeah, let's get this party started. So in this bucket I have olive oil, coconut oil, castor oil, and grapeseed oil. We have our 4 CandleScience fragrances that are soap safe. We have Midnight Blackberry, Palo Santo and Sandalwood, Sugar Pine and Patchouli, and Wild Honey Suckle. So I'm going to start by adding our lye water solution to our oils. But actually, before I do that, I have in here also kaolin clay and coconut milk powder. Y'all know the drill with that. I'm going to give this a little blitz just to get everybody nice and incorporated before we add the live water. Okay, now for the lime water solution. So now we're going to give this just a quick little blend, get just to emulsion. That way we can pour these off into our containers, start adding the fragrance, and then start pouring them into our Crafter's Choice 1605 molds. That actually did not take any time at all. I mean, this is a smaller batch, so I wasn't expecting it to take forever. And we're soaking around like 80 degrees today. We're finally starting to get a little bit of a break from heat here in Lawrence. So for us, room temperature, it's about 80 degrees. All right. We will not need our stick blender. I'm gonna go ahead and dismount that for now. Grab our KD 8000. So we're doing 4 fragrances today. So our calculation is that we need about 9.9 ounces of fragrance, or of soap batter. Sweet, so now that we have those portioned out, we're going to start adding in our fragrance. We're going to be doing 0.35 ounces of each fragrance. just because we can use these up to 5%. Let's go ahead and use the full 5%. That way we can see how these are going to behave. So first up, we have Midnight Blackberry. So we're gonna add 0.35 ounces of that. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is such a pain in the butt pouring from those little bottles. Okay, so right off the bat, you definitely get those fruitier notes. I almost get like I said in the first part of the video, it's like a mature version of black raspberry vanilla. And it smells really, really good. Like, you definitely get those citrus notes. I'm really loving this one so far. Go ahead and pour in our Crafter's Choice mold. Oop, I did not put sodium lactate in our batch. So these are going to have to set for a few days before we can even unmold them. But that's okay, that's fine. All right, there's the first one. That one slowed down a little bit. So like I was right at emulsion when I poured these. We're probably at a light trace and it's staying at a really good pace. Next up, we will be adding Palo Santo and Sandalwood. So 0.35 ounces of that. So what we're kind of looking for these fragrances as we're adding them in is how they're interacting with our soap batch. So we're looking for any acceleration, any ricing. We'll be looking if there's any discoloration after saponification. That way, whenever I go to order these later, we will know what to expect and what designs we'll be able to do with them going forward. Yeah, I love Palo Santo and Sandalwood. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Alright, so then next up we have Sugar Pine and Patchouli. 0.35 ounces, you know the drill with that. And because we have leftover batter, I'm going to be mixing some of these. So I'm kind of excited to see some of the blends and how they come together. Oh yeah, that one's really fresh. I'm a big fan of that one. Like, patchouli can either be like really beautiful, or it can be kind of like skunky and dirty. This one is definitely more on the beautiful side. That sugared pine and the notes that has to offer is really, really like, it's very bright and beautiful. Alright, and then last up we have Wild Honey Suckle. 0.35 ounces of this dude. Right on the money. And honestly, so far, none of these are accelerating. I'm kind of curious about this Wild Honey Suckle, just because there's jasmine notes in here, and jasmine can really tend to accelerate. But even with that, it's honestly not. So let's give that a little pour. Okay. Like I said, since we still have soap batter left, these last two we're gonna mix. So our first mixture is going to be the sugar pine and midnight blackberry. That's midnight blackberry. Here's our sugar pine right here. Scrapey out of the bowl. So we will not be coming back to this bowl. Ooh, that's starting to accelerate a little bit. Nothing out of our control. So yeah, the midnight blackberry definitely sped Trace along just in those few moments that it was sitting over there. Nothing too major. I was able to loosen it back up, but it quickly got itself to a medium Trace in a hurry. Leftover soap, so I'm gonna have to go grab a mold off camera here in a minute just to get that baddie in there so we don't waste anything. And the next one we're going to be doing is the Palo Santo and Sandalwood and Wild Honey Suckle. So my thinking for this was because of that jasmine note and the honeysuckle notes in there, being able to kind of like give this blend some base and some legs would really benefit it. That way it's not like too jasmine forward, and I'm kind of thinking the blend of these two, like, see how beautiful that like trace is? We're like at like light going into medium. Oh yeah, that almost smells like my mom. Yeah, my mom when I was a kid would wear Mademoiselle Coco by Chanel, and it's very reminiscent of that. Okay. Perfect. So I'm gonna go grab another mold real quick, and then we'll get the rest of this soap into there. Okay, we're back. So as you can see, this is a little bit of a thicker trace. And I think it's because that Midnight Blackberry has pear notes in it. And it is pretty typical of pear anything to accelerate. Okay. I kind of wish that smell vision was a thing, and I know a lot of YouTubers say that, but it smells beautiful. I will not need soap for a long time. So that is the rest of our Palo Santo, Sandalwood, and Wild Honey Suckle blend. That is stunning. Like, do you know how when you smell a fragrance and you can say, oh yeah, I can see stuff like this in the video? Trying that out, I see the mother bird, or birdie rather, on TikTok wearing this one because it's like very mysterious. And like just with their style and aesthetic, I don't know. I just like that smell makes me think of them. And who knows? Maybe they will see this video and I can send them a bar when it's done. Because I love watching and consuming content so much, and like some of my favorite people on TikTok to watch, just because like they're people that I can kind of like just zone out to, and like they just make you feel calm. It's Neo It Girl, also known as Nikita. She is like a goddess, like absolute goddess. And then I love Birdie so much. And then you have like Wandering Bud. I love their page on TikTok. Of course, Jasmine over at Less is More. Yeah, so those are our soaps. I just sprayed them down with rubbing alcohol, 99% rubbing alcohol. We're gonna let those set up and do their thing and go through saponification. We're going to clear the deck, clean up the table, and then we'll be back here in a few minutes to do the wax portion of this video.
5 minutes later.
So, because I am forgetful, I forgot to record the candle portion. Anyhow, these are the candles so far. This is a soy wax blend. It is the soy wax blend that we typically use in all of our wax products. High melt point, we are able to put a buttload of fragrance in each product. Really great scent retention, really great hot throw. First thing that I'm noticing with these candles is that there is no like color morph on anything, so there's not any discoloration when it comes to using these fragrances. So we have sweet vanilla cream, it's Redwood and Moss, velvet vanilla, and then this is a custom blend of golden santal and lavender embers. So CandleScience sent me their new fragrances from their line that are staying year round. And then I ended up buying golden santal and lavender embers in another order. So I really kind of wanted to see how these fragrances worked. So as you can see, the wicks are kind of a mess and chaotic. We're going to clean those up real quick. I'm just going to blast them with the heat gun, and then we will be using them around the house. Okay. So these are probably going to be as good as these get. Usually we have little wax placers. Those are still packed up because we're still getting the studio unpacked. But yeah, I'm gonna let these tops harden up. We'll trim the wicks, and then these will be ready to go at various places in our house. They smell incredible. I'm not a huge fan of like the gourmand fragrances, so that's going to be like your vanillas, your caramels, your creams, your cinnamons, things in that like desserty type fragrance. Sweet, not necessarily my favorite, but I can say right now that these all smell really, really incredible. And then we have a couple check-ins that I'm going to include for the soaps. They're looking really, really great. Starting to harden up really well. So I can't wait to unmold those, and we should be able to take a look at them tomorrow.
A few moments later.
Okay, so checking in about a couple hours after we poured these. Gave them another little spritz with rubbing alcohol. And everyone looks really good so far. Not noticing any discoloration, any like heavy heating up so the bars aren't splitting. I was kind of worried about that with maybe mixing some of these together, but everybody's behaving really well so far. So we're gonna cover these back up and let them chill out, and we'll be back in about 18 to 24 hours to unmold them.
One eternity later.
Okay, so we are back over 24 hours later. I am just trimming the wicks on these candles real quick. That way I can take them into the house. Archer's hanging out here with me this evening. Alright, so those are done. Next, we are going to be unmolding these soaps. Okay. Honestly, I may not have really actually needed this sodium lactate. Alright, so first one coming out is the Midnight Blackberry. It smells incredible. I'm a huge fan of that one. I thought it was going to be a little bit too sweet, but like I said, it really is the grown-up version of Black Raspberry Vanilla. Next up, we have Palo Santo and Sandalwood. That one is a little bit softer, but it's fine. So that kind of just goes to show as well. So after 24 hours, this is definitely more of a solid bar. That kind of just goes to show some of the acceleration that happened with the Midnight Blackberry. This Palo Santo and Sandalwood, it did slow down trace just a little bit. And that is pretty evident there. Next up, we have Sugar Pine and Patchouli. Kind of the same deal. We did have trace speed up a little bit with this one as well. It's more of a solid bar. That one's probably next to being one of my other favorites. It smells so good. All right, and then this one is the Wild Honey Suckle. And once again, that one popped out super easy. So right off the testing bat, if you're going to be working with the Palo Santo and Sandalwood, it is going to make your soap a little bit softer. It does slow down saponification and trace a little bit. So this one probably needs closer to, I would say probably about 48 to 72 hours before you could unmold. Or you could do, you know, every soap maker's favorite little cheat code and use sodium lactate, and you'll be able to unmold probably a little bit quicker. All right, and then the next one we're going to unmold is the Midnight Blackberry and the I can't remember which one this was. Oh yes, this one is the blend of Sugar Pine and Midnight Blackberry. A little bit of discoloration on that one, but nothing major, honestly. And then this one is the Palo Santo and Wild Honey Suckle blend, which a little bit softer. It's kind of in that in-between place of the Wild Honeysuckle and the Palo Santo and Sandalwood. We also have another bar of the Midnight Blackberry and Sugared Pine. And then this one is yet another Wild Honeysuckle and the Palo Santo and Sandalwood. I'm super excited about these. Like I said, I needed more soap for my bathroom. I just got through my last bar of soap that I ordered from Holly over at Missouri River Soaps. But yeah. So we have all of our candles and then our soaps that we made. One final note is that the Midnight Blackberry is really the only one that it discolored a little bit. Everybody else stayed kind of a creamy white color. And then it was that one, actually I'm seeing it with the Palo Santo and Sandalwood too. So those ones kind of discolored to like a very, very creamy, buttery white. So keep that in mind whenever you're doing your batches and you're working with these fragrances. You will see a little discoloration, but not enough that it's going to completely throw a batch. And then with all of the candles, they set so beautifully. I'm not noticing any discoloration in the wax. I'm really, really excited to try these out in the house. So yeah, we're going to kick it over to the ending, wrap this video up, and then we will see everyone next time.
Alright everyone, thank you for tuning into this video. I want to give a huge shout out to CandleScience for sending me these new products. They didn't have to do that. It was honestly my first time getting to work with a brand and review fragrances like this. So I was unbelievably excited. I really love how the soap turned out, and even these candles. I can't wait to test these out around my home. This is the Midnight Blackberry. This is the Velvet Vanilla. They smell fantastic. If you liked this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel down below, hit that thumbs up button if you want to see more content like this. We do have some shorter videos coming. I promise we have shorter videos coming. The next one's going to be a little robotic, so I can't wait for everyone to see how that one turns out. And if you want to see it, make sure you click that bell so you get notified the next time that we post a video. Until next time, I hope everybody stays healthy, stays happy, and toodles.